All right, welcome back. Matt Steinmetz, Daryl the Guru Johnson with you. And let's go to Stevie Wyche, Chief National Reporter for the NFL Network. You can see Steve on NFL Network's NFL Game Day kickoff Thursday at 3 p.m., and that leads right up to the Giants-Niners game. What's up, Steve? How you doing, my man?
What's going on? Can I call you Matty?
Yeah,
Stevie.
Yeah, hey, Stevie. There's a familiarity there. We go back, 25 years? Something like that?
Yeah, I mean, the old Eric Dampier Warriors and the old, Alonzo Mourning Heat days.
Yes, exactly. Let me start with a team out here, the San Francisco 49ers. Can I ask you, what is Brock Purdy in the Bay Area seem to win over most of the fans? Where is kind of the rest of the league with Brock Purdy? Do they view the 49ers quarterback situation as a negative or a positive, do you think?
That's a great question because, he's perfectly fine. What about everything he's done makes you think he's not legit? I mean, he got injured, but everything about it, he can deliver the ball. He runs the offense well. I mean, I think he's a real guy. I mean, I don't think he's just a system guy. I think if he went to another team and played a different scheme, he'd be fine. I still think the national feeling is that the Niners are so stacked that they just need a game manager at quarterback. But I think Brock's the type of guy that if you needed him to win a game, if he had to throw it 40 times in a game, he can win it. Now, does he have great talent around him? 1,000%. But I think he's legit. I mean, there's nothing about me that I've seen that makes him think he's going to lose his cool, that he's going to go on some type of four interception game type spree. He just seems like a very legitimate NFL quarterback.
Yeah, I agree, Steve. And it's kind of funny, this next question I'm going to ask you, because I'm going to be prisoner of the moment. This offseason was all about the running back, and I took it as disrespect. Why can't they get paid? And I forgot just how dynamic McCaffrey was. But, Steve, now that he's in this offense, I get Marshall Faulk vibes. That's just me. But outside of Justin Jefferson in Minneapolis, I mean, is there any offensive player, Steve, right now to where not just more impactful, but dynamic than C-Mac?
Wow. I mean, there aren't that many. I mean, before last night, you probably would throw Nick Chubb in that argument. There's a couple just incredibly special players. I mean, you can throw Travis Kelce in there. I would. But, I mean, just in terms of just outright, what I've seen about Christian McCaffrey, when he was in Carolina, we knew he was athletic. We knew he was a dynamic dual threat. But the physicality he plays with, which Kyle demands out of his players, that's an element I didn't see until he got to San Francisco. And a lot of times, that's just players feeding off of everybody else. Because there's nobody on the Niners that lightens up on any play. And I guess he felt, you see it with the Steelers too, if you come to this environment, you better be able to bang. And the fact that he's got that part of his game too is so impressive. And you saw last week against the Rams, he carried the ball 20 times, and I think he had 3 or 4 other touches, and that was a physical game. I mean, he was a legit bell cow. It wasn't an interchangeable situation. I think that's going to change Thursday, but McCaffrey is extra special.
Steve Wyche joining us on 95.7 The Game. He's the chief national reporter for NFL Network. It feels like the 3 best teams in the AFC are the Cowboys, the 49ers, and the Eagles. Do you agree with that? And if so, is there any 4th team that could emerge in the NFC?
I would agree with those 3. Even though Seattle beat the Lions, I think the Lions are going to end up being really good, even though some of their defensive flaws have shown up early. I think Seattle's going to end up being really good. And, there's one of these teams in the NFC South is going to end up impressing. And I tell you this, I think it could very well be Atlanta. If Desmond Ridder, the jump he made from week 1 to week 2, just an absolute gumption. Just there's an old saying, you got your quarterback when you got to do is he'll jump into a pile to recover a fumble. He showed that in week 2. If he continues to progress like that, I think Atlanta is a team that could step up into the pile as well.
Steve, we started the show today. My partner brought up, do you think Kyle Shanahan's coaching more aggressive this year? And there that play or drive you saw right before half, he went for it. Couple fourth downs before that in Pittsburgh, they went for it. If I were to pose that to you, do you think Kyle's coaching more aggressively? How would you answer that?
I would say no. I think he's always an aggressive play caller. I think he was coaching to the moment because I actually asked why he went for the touchdown instead of the field goal in that situation against the Rams. And he was like, they were scoring touchdowns, and I thought we needed to get a touchdown to keep up right there. So, I don't think he's necessarily coaching more or less aggressive. I just think he was coaching for the moment.
Steve Wyche joining us on 95.7 The Game. A lot of people were wondering why McVay took the field goal the last play of the game. Is it – I mean, the only thing I could think of is the point differential, which is about the 9th tiebreaker.
Yeah.
Yes, no? Do you believe that?
Well, I mean, that's what I think. Now, he explained it. I haven't had a chance to look at it. I guess he explained it at a news conference this morning or something why he did it. So, but I mean, that is my assumption right there.
Yeah.
Hey, Steve, let me ask you this. There were 2 games last night, Monday Night Football. I love, just more football. I love it. But who would you be, and I don't want to be disrespectful to the DeShaun Watson before his troubles, but who would you be more concerned with, Pickett or DeShaun Watson in what we saw on film yesterday?
Well, I would say DeShaun Watson just because of the money. I mean, you still have Kenny Pickett on a rookie contract. If he doesn't progress, you can move off of him. They cannot move off of DeShaun Watson. He is guaranteed through and through, and they've reset his contract twice now. So he's going to get more money on the back end. You're stuck with it. It's guaranteed. So it's much harder. It's much harder to get off that contract. So, but in terms of the actual play, I mean that's a tough one because their styles are different. I mean, Cleveland, especially now that Nick Chubb is done for the season, they're going to be far more reliant on DeShaun Watson than they would have been had Chubb been in there. Whereas with Kenny Pickett, they can be more reliant on a ball control type of offense, whereas Cleveland's going to expect DeShaun Watson to be dynamic, and he is. I mean, look, he was under it last night. The Steelers were giving him the business, but man, he just does not get the ball out on time, and I know that's confounding to Kevin Stefanski and what the Browns want to do, at least schematically, at least ideologically, and that's going to have to change because those teams are going to keep on coming after them the way the Steelers did.
Steve, real quick on Nick Bosa. People think he's off to a little bit of a slow start. Any concern there from a guy who got into camp late?
Nope. I mean, he got into camp late. You got to remember that. That I think people will see sacks come in bunches, and he'll have one of those stretches where he gets 2 and 3 sacks over 3 or 4 games.
Steve, we saw the Niners kind of play with the cap. They restructured some deals, and they got $41 million of cap space. I'm asking you, when you heard that news, what do you think they do with that money?
Well, I mean, they're going to sit on it for now in case they've got to do some other restructures, got to do some other contracts. Brandon Aiyuk, that's the big question. Can they afford him and Debo? They've created some money to do something like that. If they feel the need mid-season to go out and make a trade and get some money, like they absorb a big contract like Christian McCaffrey, they've given themselves room to do that. I mean, they understand now is kind of their time to really continue to push for the Super Bowl, and they've given themselves incredible flexibility.
Steve, about Aiyuk, how good is he to you? Because when they, Goodell went to the podium, I was like, who? I mean, this dude looks great. What are your thoughts of Brandon Aiyuk?
Stud. And he fits what the Niners do. And this goes back to Brock Purdy. How much did we start seeing Brandon Aiyuk showcased more when Purdy became the quarterback?
Yeah.
I mean, you started seeing Kittle and Purdy get the ball an awful lot more because he runs this offense the way it's supposed to be run. There's no gray area. And the relationship he has with Aiyuk, I mean, that's a really special development.
Steve, you give the Giants a chance on Thursday, you're going to be out here.
I will. There's always a chance.
Any given Sunday.
Look, everyone thought that the Niners were going to smoke the Rams, and that was a hell of a game.
Yeah, it was.
That was a tough game. I was there. So you never know, but on paper it looks like this should be one that the Niners win handily.
Steve, thanks for your time as always, man. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Appreciate you, Matty.
All right. That's Steve Wyche, chief national reporter for the NFL Network. You can see him Thursday at 3 o'clock. He's part of the NFL Network's game day coverage. and that'll be leading up to the Giants 49ers game.